Good afternoon. It's Tuesday, October 20th, and I'm back in the region of Nook with another parcel. Not had anything to open, so I've not been coming out to the region Nook. For an autumn day, it's a little bit cool, but not too bad. I'm getting towards the end of the day, so I thought I'd fit this in before I get lost the light. So let's go ahead. You may recognise this style of packaging as coming from Kicksto, so I have an idea what it is. There we go. It's open. Let's have a look. Okay, and it's a copy of The Smoking Ruins and Other Stories for RuneQuest Roleplaying Glorantha, published by Chaosium Inc. So, let's have a look. The Smoking Ruins and Other Stories contains ready-to-play scenarios for RuneQuest, taking your adventures across the untamed South Wilds, a region filled with reclusive villagers, ancient standing stones, beast folk, troll spirits, undead, wolf brothers, dinosaurs, monstrous mercenary companies, living trees, river spirits, and even more spectacular perils and wonders. Highly detailed gazetteer of the dangerous and mysterious region of the Glorantha known as the South Wilds. You'll learn the secrets of the Wild Temple, a vast network of megalithic standing stones, and a sacred beast man shrine, and the Lost Valley, secluded and seemingly forgotten refuge known to its inhabitants as Longhome. The Smoking Ruin, a full-length scenario taking adventures into the haunted secrets of once great city in search of a lost artifact. Overton's Tower, full-length scenario set in the Lost Valley that pits the adventurers and its wardens against the monstrous army, with the best hope for victory secreted in the tower of the legendary and mysteriously absent sorcerer of Overton. And finally, the Grove of Green Rock, a serialised scenario set over the span of several years, giving the adventurers the opportunity to participate in an annual ritual intended to reinvigorate the elves' fading magic in a sacred grove and re-establish their claim to the region. So what you've said basically is it says you've got in here you have basically Gazetteer of the South Wilds, which lies to the west of Sartar, basically abutting and then into the Dragon Hills or Dragon Mountains. In The Smoking Ruin, which is the big scenario by Chris Klug, you will be going across in search of an artifact. Basically, a city known to be smoking after centuries after it fell. It's full of ghosts and dead trolls and things, and there's quite a lot going on, and it's a bit of a race against time to get there and back again in time for important basic Enelden ceremony. It's a really good scenario, especially for characters who basically are not worshippers of Orlanth and Enelda. And it's a good scenario if one of your characters is an entertainer or has some performance skill. Most characters will have something along those lines, but an entertainer will have a chance to shine in that scenario. And then Overton's Tower feels a little bit like a Dungeons and Dragons scenario, in that you have an isolated community under attack, and essentially the adventurers arrive, and they're not the solution to the problem, but a wizard is, and unfortunately contact has been lost with the wizard in his ancient tower, and so on. But although that setup sounds like a Dungeons and Dragons scenario, it's really given like a Gloranthan, basically not gloss, but basically a Gloranthan origins and explanation as to what's going on. So the invaders are Lunars and so on, and things like that. It's a good scenario. because it does something different with sort of like the standards, that kind of D&D setup, and which is almost a cliche. Although it sort of does that isolated, it does that sort of thing you see in RuneQuest quite commonly, which is that isolated community in a valley out of the way, which has sort of like been ignored by most of the major powers, and really is only sort of just it comes to the attention of the Lunar Empire. That said, it's a good scenario. And then the last one, the Grove of Green Rock, is primarily a combat scenario. Because you will be hired by elves to stand guard whilst they perform a ritual. This ritual takes place over the course of several years, and as word spreads of the ritual, different forces will attempt to disrupt it. And of course, over the course of the years, because the player characters have got better and better and stronger, the opposition will get tougher and tougher and tougher. But it's a nice scenario that builds and builds. Basically it's a chance to like forge friendships with the elves in particular, face some fantastic enemies, and that's in addition to also, so you've got like a gazetteer in there. It's still, I would still say it's a good overview of a gazetteer. It's not extensive. It's enough there's enough for the scenarios. And I'm just going to basically take the plastic wrapping off to show you what's inside. The other thing I would say is that certainly the Smoking Ruin as a scenario location deserves to be revisited again and again. I really hope they do more scenarios there, because there's still stuff in there to explore. Let's have a look. So that's a map of the region, and so essentially what you've got is the lands of the Colomor are off in this direction. You've got up here, you've got the Dragon Spine Mountains down there. Smoking Ruins is there, and essentially we're just going to come down there and work your way across as part of the scenario in the Smoking Ruin, and then the Wild Temple. Basically, the megalithic spot is there. That's huge. Basically, it's a sort of huge, miles across. Structure of little layout of megalithic stones, pretty much like some of the great megalithic structures in the south of England in particular, Stonehenge and Avebury, but on a grand scale, and obviously still used as a centre of worship even now. In Dragon Pass. So yeah, it's got great cover. Just some of the artwork in there. Just flipping through. See if I can find. The other thing is Smoking Ruin. It's a really nice scenario for tying into the Colomar campaign, which you might have been running if you played the scenarios from the GM's resource pack and the Adventures book, because you're involving yourself in the politics of region. There's another map like this, the Smoking Ruin. It's a fantastic map. So I would thoroughly recommend this book. Now, the reason why I'm doing an unboxing and I'm talking about it, knowing just a little about it, is the fact that I have reviewed it, and you will find a link to that review down below. And if you wonder why, normally I would do an unboxing, then I will review it. This is a replacement copy. Basically, the copy I had was burnt through in one particular page. So I couldn't read the text there, and Chaosium were very kind to replace it. So I want to thank them. They were very prompt. Thank you very much. So that's the Smoking Ruins. There was a review down in the link down below. If you've not got this, and certainly if you've got the basically the GM pack, This is, although it's designed for beginning players, it really works as a good sequel to those adventures. Takes you from another direction, ties you into the politics at Queen Lyca's court at Clearwine Fort, and it basically introduces areas which you will probably be revisiting again and again. Right, so that's Smoking Ruins. You probably have it anyway if you're a RuneQuest fan, but if you don't, do get it. And thank you again for watching another unboxing video. Bye for now.